If you are just joining us on the program, Daniel Jones, 2-year deal, $88 million, could be worth upwards of $100. That coming out today about 11 o'clock this morning. Also, Trey Hendrickson on his way to Baltimore. And it appears as though the Colts were heavy in that conversation, but Baltimore in the end offering about $3 million per year more than did the Colts. And so as a result, Hendrickson is now a Baltimore Raven. Pacers on the short end last night to Sacramento. They're now on the worst record in the NBA. And IndyCar this weekend will be at a new event. It is the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington. Arlington meaning the area, the suburb of Dallas, where you find their sports stadiums. That's where the street course will be, and piloting the car with Splenda and as well Java House sponsorship on the side of it for ECR. He is a guy that led 68 laps in Phoenix last weekend. Christian Rasmussen joining us on the Java House Cold Brew Coffee guest line. Christian, first off, when it comes to guest lines of those radio interviews you do, there is none that is smoother than the Java House guest line, correct?
Isn't that right?
I knew you'd agree with that. All right, let's get to this. You had and boy, we've seen last year at the end of the year, I think your introduction for a lot of people was when you took on fresh tires in an oval win last year. I want to say it was Nashville, where you just stormed through at the end of the race, and it looked like Milwaukee. Sorry about that. Yeah. So it looked like it was going to be the same in Phoenix. You were leading 68 laps, and then Will Power, who was a veteran in the series, you had an incident where you tangled with him, and afterwards you guys talked, and it seemed like Power kind of owned up to that. Let's go back to that incident first. What was your recollection and just your emotion of seeing that race kind of be taken away there?
Yeah, we obviously had a very good day going, starting down all the way down from T18 and throughout the whole race, just working our way to the front. Even in that very first stint, we were already up and contending within the top 5 and top 3 of the race. We were having an awesome day. On that very last stop, came out I think in 5th or 4th or 5th. Made my way through, overtook Kirkwood and Award, and then I found myself in 2nd, right behind Power. Started to kind of go to work on him, trying to find a way around when I went to the high side in turn 1 and 2, and I guess that's where what Power also wanted to be. So ended out me getting squeezed into the wall, unfortunately, and picking up some damage on the car, which ultimately led to us losing a ton of positions towards the end of the race.
What did Power say to you afterwards?
Yeah, I walked up to him after and just to check in and see what his view is on it, or was on it. When you have incident like that with other drivers in IndyCar and in the other race series, it's not very often that these two conflicting drivers see eye to eye. So I wanted to get his side of the story, and yeah, he owned up to it. He told me that he was in the wrong, and there's not really much you can do about it. On the backside, it's at the end of the day, that's racing. That's what happens. I have massive respect for Will. He's one of the fastest that the sports has ever seen. So it was just an unfortunate situation. So hopefully we won't have that in the future. Hopefully he communicates better with his spotter the next time around, and we won't have the same incident.
For those that are unfamiliar, Christian Rasmussen, by the way, is my guest on the Java House Cold Brew Coffee guest line. And Christian, you came up through the ranks. You're a native, obviously, of Copenhagen, Denmark. Came up through the ranks in the ladder series. You ran in the Jay Howard Driver Development Program. You've done a little of everything, but not necessarily, at least from what I know, in your earlier driving days were you racing regularly on ovals. Now, you tell me if that's incorrect, but the reason I bring it up is because you really have become a tenacious oval driver, and it looks like you are comfortable on them. Obviously, you mentioned getting the win in Milwaukee. What is it about ovals that seemingly fits your driving style?
Yeah, I was introduced to ovals fairly early on, as I did all the junior categories here in the States, as you mentioned yourself. So it's definitely very heavy on the road and street course side early on in my career, but got introduced in, I guess, 2019 would have been my first year of running ovals. Did one race there, a couple races the following year, and just kind of build up to it and done more and more oval racing in over the years. Obviously, in IndyCar, that's probably the heaviest oval schedule that I've been a part of. But yeah, it just it just clicks with us. I think I feel quite comfortable with a car that's moving around, which I think results in some way into speeds. I think we're willing to take some risks that some other drivers aren't willing to take, and that just is very rewarded in short oval racing, especially. So I think what we in particular have been doing very, very well is traffic management, because I don't think necessarily we've been the quickest car out there every weekend, but all the way that we manage traffic and get through lap traffic really seem to make a difference. So yeah, I mean, I love oval racing. I always have from the very beginning. So yeah, just looking forward to the next one and putting this one behind us.
Are you curious to see what the track layout is going to be here in the next event? Obviously, the Java House Grand Prix of Arlington, but whatever it is, a new street course race that utilizes the parking lot areas of a stadium. Are you curious to see what the track's going to be, and how long does it take you to kind of acclimate and get used to the muscle memory of a course?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was fortunate to go out there end of last year, I believe it was, and see where the layout's going to be and see the area around the track where everything is, and what a place to host a race, right in between the Rangers and the Cowboy Stadium. And yeah, I mean, it looks like I think the layout of the track looks great. I think we're all very excited, especially Alex and I, being part of ECR with having Java House branding on the side of both our cars this weekend. So it's obviously a big weekend for us, a big weekend for the team, and one that we're all very excited about with how everything looks out there.
The Christian Rasmussen is my guest. Growing up in Denmark, I'm curious of this. Everybody around here, their body like acclimates because we just had to change our clocks, right, for daylight savings. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you tell me if I'm wrong, but like when you were a kid growing up in Denmark, and I mean, this is obviously the case still, but in June there, the sun comes up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and then gets dark at midnight, something like that. Now, I'm probably embellishing a little bit, but is there some truth to that? Like, do you get like the 20 hours of daylight there in Denmark?
It's not quite that extreme, but yes, in the summertime, it's definitely very long days, and it's flipped in the winter, right? Like I remember going to school when I was younger, waking up in the morning, sun would come up around 9, and it would be down again around 3. So definitely short days in the winter too.
Yeah,
so
that's no bueno, man. I mean, that is not good. Like I would have zero energy.
Yeah, winter depression is definitely a thing.
You need to send a bunch of Wrangler energy from Java House to the folks in Denmark in the wintertime to carry them through along with the coffee. But I wanted to ask this before we let you go. I'm always fascinated of this question, Christian. You've obviously now been around the United States a lot because of the series and just being here now. And I know this sounds like a dumb question, but it fascinates me, and I think people find it interesting. What area of the United States, if any, have you been to that most reminds you of home? And by that I mean the countryside, the topography, the way that just the way everything looks, Denmark looks the most like what area of the United States?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think I've really been anywhere in the States that really reminds me of Denmark. Obviously, we have a lot of coastline, so it's very coastal. No matter where you are in Denmark, you're a maximum of, I think, 30 or 35-minute drive from the ocean. So it would be somewhere coastal. But man, that's hard for me to pick out, because I think in many ways they are very different. Architecture is different. Infrastructure is different.
Is there a city anywhere that feels like I've always heard Copenhagen is super cool, man. I would love to go there. Is there a U.S. city that feels like it in any way?
I mean, for me, no, not really. I think, I think there's obviously, I'm biased being from there and all, but I always say that there's no place quite like Copenhagen in the summer. One of my favorite places to be, being home and all. But Carmel, Indiana has become my new home, and I love being here. Not that it reminds me very much of Copenhagen, but that has become home.
And of course, we do the best, but no matter how much we try, Christian, we can't get the sun to come up here at 4:30 in the morning in the summer and set at 9:30 at night. But it would be awesome if it could happen. But we'll see if the sun shines on you in Arlington. Obviously, it's going to be a great event. The Java House Grand Prix of Arlington taking place this weekend for IndyCar. And certainly wish you the best. Look forward to seeing you down there and watching your race, and wish you the best on a strong finish for the race coming up this weekend.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Christian Rasmussen joining us. Again, Java House Cold Brew Coffee guest line.